Hello, everyone. Welcome to Bree's Practical English podcast. Today, I wanted to talk about education, and specifically education in the United States. So the other day, I was scrolling on TikTok, and I saw a video of a 7th grade teacher in America. Well, first of all, it's September now, and it's the start of the school year in the US. And there was a 7th grade teacher, and he was describing his shock and horror that the new 7th graders that came into his classroom were still performing at a 4th grade level. And it wasn't just him that was complaining about this. Lots and lots of other teachers started stitching his TikTok video and commenting with their own experiences. A lot of other 7th grade teachers were saying the same thing. The students coming in are performing at a 4th grade level. Some students didn't know how to spell simple words like window or though or sky, and they're very serious. They don't know how to spell those words. They're also not good at reading comprehension. They will get a small 1-paragraph story, and after they read the story, they can't tell the teacher who was the main character. What was the story about? They don't know. Another teacher was saying that his students don't even know what state they live in. They don't even know what region of the United States that they live in. So it seems that these students are very, very behind. It was from a variety of teachers from different backgrounds and even from affluent schools. So this seems to be a huge problem in the US. And I was wondering if it's a problem in your country. So if you have children or if you're a teacher in your home country, please let me know if the students in your classrooms or your children at home, are they the same as the students in the US? Are they that far behind? Are they behind at all, or are they advanced? So the teachers that were discussing this issue brought up several possible reasons that this is happening. The first reason that a lot of people brought up was the pandemic. So with COVID, a lot of students went to online learning. Classes had been canceled. Teachers maybe weren't that great at creating online materials or creating an online classroom. And, we all know COVID happened 3 years ago. So that would make sense that that kids going into the 7th grade are performing like they're in the 4th grade. It's like they're frozen in time from before COVID happened. That is one possible reason. I live in Japan, and I saw a lot of my students who are children, their classes went online in 2020, and their teachers did not know how to handle online teaching. I heard from a lot of my students that the teacher's mic would be muted the whole time and they wouldn't even know, or that the teachers weren't able to kind of control the students in an online atmosphere, in an online classroom. So I could see that as being a big impact on students. Not being able to be in a physical classroom, not having a teacher who is confident at teaching things online. Those could all affect the students' learning ability. Another reason that they bring up is the No Child Left Behind Act. So I remember it was right when I just started high school. In 2001, President Bush pushed this No Child Left Behind Act. I think the purpose of No Child Left Behind was to make sure that students put in effort and teachers put in effort to help children get to the level that they're supposed to be at. I don't know if they do this in your country. I know they don't do this in Japan, but in America, if a student is very advanced for their age, they might skip a grade. I remember very, very vividly in the first grade, I had a friend and she was really, really good at reading. And they always asked her to go read to the other classes, even the older classes. And we were in the first grade. And she was just so advanced, so smart, that they bumped her up to the second grade. So even though we were the same age, she moved up a year in school. I had another classmate in first grade who was repeating the first grade. So he might have had a learning disability. I'm not sure. He had already taken the first grade, but his grades weren't good. And I think he failed a lot of the basics. So he had to take the first grade again. So he was a year older than everyone, but he was still in the first grade. When I was a kid, it wasn't super common, but it was something that happened. So if you're very smart, if you're very advanced, you could skip a grade. You could go to the next grade. If you needed more time to absorb the information, if you didn't do so well, you would stay behind. You would repeat the same grade. I know they don't do this in Japan. I don't know about your countries, but effectively what No Child Left Behind Act did was push everyone into the same grade. So even if students were struggling, they passed them to the next grade anyway. So no child would be left behind in the previous grade. And a lot of teachers are saying that that was a big problem because students who are struggling and don't meet the requirements to pass that grade still get passed because they have to continue on to the next grade. So there was a lot of praise for the No Child Left Behind Act, but there was also a lot of criticism. That's one of the criticisms. And there was one final point that people were talking about, and that is not talking to your children at home and letting them just play games or watch TV, use their smartphones. The teachers really emphasized that students didn't know basic things like what normally you would learn in conversations with your parents. From the teacher's perspective, it seems like there is not enough dialogue at home, and students are just coming home and getting on their smartphones, playing games on their phones, and the parents are doing the same. The parents come home from work, they're exhausted, boom, they're on their phone. Although I think there are lots of educational apps and videos that people can utilize to get a better education. I think we all know that sometimes we just want to relax and we just consume garbage, for lack of a better word. I know when I'm really tired, I just go on TikTok and I scroll and scroll and scroll, and suddenly, before I realize it, an hour has already passed. So screen time and a lack of communication with parents also seems like one issue. So I wanted to get your take on this. What do you think out of the 3 problems that I mentioned? Which one do you think is the most impactful for students? And what is your own experience in your home country? How are the students doing? Are they behind? Are they advanced? No change? I'm very curious because when I saw that first video, I was so shocked that 7th graders would be performing at a 4th grade level. That really shocked me because I still remember when I was in the 7th grade and we were doing lots of things, like preparing for high school. I remember being very challenged and also having a lot of fun in 7th grade. So that really surprised me. 4th grade and 7th grade, there's a very big gap there. I also remember when I was in the 4th grade, I would say that is a huge gap. I'm really sorry to hear that American students are facing that challenge, and I really hope they can find a solution. I hope those students can get their grades up and get to the appropriate level, because those are our future doctors, they're our future lawyers, our future scientists. That's the next generation that's going to be working. And I really hope that they'll be able to keep up with the rest of the world. And I just feel so sorry for those kids that somewhere along the line, someone has failed them, it seems. They're still children, so the adults need to make sure that they're getting the education that they need. And yeah, I was just very shocked. I'm really curious about your opinions and comments on this topic. So please leave them in the comments and I'll comment back to you as soon as I can. All right, I'll see you guys in our next podcast. Thanks for listening. Bye.